6:30. I call this meeting to order. We do have a quorum. We have 6 members here. I look for acceptance of the meeting minutes of November 7th. So moved, Mr. Burdette, second by Mr. Carroll. Any discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? Motion passed unanimously. All right, so just kind of an update. Our last meeting, I think, was or close to that. We had talked about the redistricting and a couple other things, and we haven't had a lot of things to work on, so I've been kind of looking for a new purpose for this committee. I did go over to building needs, and I told some of you already, but I did go over to building needs this week, last week. I'm going to start going to those meetings regular, trying to create some communication and cohesion between the two groups. We kind of serve similar purposes. But there are a number of things so that leaves us to the plant and planning, which is the buildings, right? And most of this stuff on here deals with buildings. Capital improvement plan. Hey, Bill.
How you doing?
The capital improvement plan is in a draft form yet. We're still waiting to get and I think I saw some notes in here, waiting to get the final balance sheet for past year's capital improvement, so we can make some decisions on where we go from the future. One of the things that was on last year's capital improvement plan was the Bunnell feasibility study, which we've been trying to get going. I know the mayor has talked about her desire to do that, but just trying to get that going. Last year, we pulled out of the capital improvement plan all of the Bunnell items with the intent we're going to be doing some, outside of maybe some just maintenance stuff, but some longer term things. But I think, even if you look at Stratford High, that's a 5 to 6 year process from the time the feasibility starts to the time we actually get a shovel in the ground, and then a couple years for the project. So I don't know that it would be prudent to do nothing at Bunnell, but I do think that we have to put off some of the larger projects that would be encompassed in a larger scale remodeling. But it's trying to get a handle on all this different stuff, staying on top of it. I think that's hoping that'll be this committee's new direction, is just working through. And I don't know if Rich.
So have you heard anything as far as from the mayor? Do they have a person that they're going to use to do the feasibility study? I had heard 3 people recommended.
Yeah.
3 different firms. So I don't know where that.
So I know at the last meeting, the vans were part of our capital improvement plan last year. They at the last meeting, I think it was Wednesday maybe, or Monday, I can't remember, but they had voted to reallocate the funding source. So I don't know that it came through the bonding. I think they might have, I don't know all the details, but they found another source for funding and they approved it. So those vans we should have the money. I don't know if you guys have gotten it yet. The same as, pardon?
Yeah.
No, you could.
You got it?
You missed what he said.
Oh.
That's
So
all.
I was referring to the Bunnell project.
No, and so I'm just kind of, just as a lead up to the Bunnell project. So the Bunnell feasibility study was also on that, and there's been talk about it. I know the mayor talked to the superintendent about it within the last couple of days, and the mayor's desire to get that moving.
Yep.
Brian Snyder said he was not capable or willing to do the project, whichever it was, and he had referred 3 people. So it's in the town's hands right now. We will, I think at the last board meeting, we took a vote to authorize or to approve the funding for the vans. I didn't do the feasibility study, but we will at the next board meeting do that, just to have it official on the record, and whatever the process is. But it's my understanding that that's become in the forefront for them, and I'm hoping we'll see some progress on that. I didn't know if anybody had heard, if any of you guys had heard anything
On the vans?
about the vans and
Yes.
about.
I know about the vans. We've been back and forth on an email, and it looks like the town's ready to cut the PO, and the dealer did ask us to give when the town sends POs, to send copies of the registrations. So he's sure that we're going to register. They register them the way we want them, because we want them turnkey. We don't want to have to do anything, everything's coming on the site the way it is. I've also been back and forth with Dawn, they've opened up the flood doors to start sending stuff for school construction
For the school.
and invoices.
Okay.
Okay, so they're not totally done, because they have a couple things they still have to do, and fill out like the 1046S, because that is not our end, they pay the bills, they have to know what vendor they paid, what
So now,
designer.
just for clarification, that is for,
The chapel, it was one, I think is a chapel roof and solar, one's Bennell or Johnson roof and solar.
Yeah.
There's like the three that we already sent through for the board. They accepted the roof as, they accepted the roof as complete. But they hadn't accepted the solar complete because we weren't told to go ahead and move forward. Now, those projects have gone through building needs, I think Monday night.
You guys
Building
approved.
needs has accepted them as complete. I'm not sure exactly which ones, but now once I went, the invoices will start rolling into me so I can put them aside to get everything labeled up. When I have all the pieces from the town, I will submit it to the state to go ahead and put the final payments in.
okay. And would that require approval from the board?
Yep, as soon as that's the next thing is we're gonna go back to the board. And we'll put the motion back up and accept the board, the roof and the solar project together as complete now.
Yep.
Because I need the board approval with the minutes
Okay.
to go to the state.
So I know there were 3 projects you had said, if ever, well, let's stop there for a second. And let's go through the agenda in order. I think.
All right, no, that was fine.
Yeah,
And
just so everybody,
Yeah.
I know we've had some conversations, but just so everybody can keep up. So the facilities update, Rich, you wanna,
So, you know, the work orders have been, lately have been pretty big with trying to get everything, stuff from the past done.
and we have, so in this package
So,
here,
right,
in a non-color, just a black and white sheet,
Correct.
Yeah.
we have a work order. And these are all projects that are currently pending with the town?
correct. And actually, when we go, you know, when we go through them, there's actually, on the next page, Nichols' window repairs are all completed. They
Yeah.
actually went in yesterday and the day before and completed all the window stuff for Nichols, so those are 100% done. So we met with the town, and now on here, we actually have the status. Now, it'll tell you the name of the person from the town who's actually who was assigned this, whether it's Tech or Danny. And you'll see on here, most all this stuff now is all new as to when it was put in. So these are all things that are, and it'll tell you whether it's on hold. And if it's on hold, typically they're waiting on product of something, you know, whatever it might be.
So it looks like there are, at the top of the page, some projects that are 2 and 3 years old.
All pending with Bennell.
Okay.
Yeah.
And how are those, how do those projects look to you? Are they,
Well, I mean, some of these are windows,
Mhm.
which, I mean, they can't even get parts for those windows.
Right.
So,
That's gonna be part of the construction
Yeah,
most likely,
that would
so
be-
that's a, yeah.
so I think we're gonna kind of ride it out as much as we can.
Yeah.
The math office stairwell, they had a company out recently, I believe it was Linquist, there's a door that goes to the roof that
No,
leaks.
it's-
and it's actually the flashing that's pitched backwards?
There's
No.
flashing, yeah, it's pitched, but the door itself was all rotted out, so they were ordering.
And
It swings
they
in.
actually
Doesn't
hired
swing out.
Camco, yes, they actually
And
hired
that's where the
Camco,
issue is.
Mm.
yes.
So Camco is out there, and Camco's gonna be replacing it all.
Okay.
And I know they already contracted Camco to do that door.
And it talks about some other ceiling leaks in there, like the 4th item down.
Yeah, there's a few spots where there's some cracks in like mortar outside up on the roof
Which won't be covered by the roof warranties,
Mm.
that finds its way down.
Yeah.
And,
So have one here.
a couple of these, like G2 wood closet was just taken care of the other day. So was the work order just underneath that. I think the third one underneath that was done as well. So some of these, within the last few days, have actually been taken care of. So,
I mean, outside of those Benell ones, it looks like they're all fairly current.
Yeah.
does that mean that the town's been on top of most of these?
They are, so, again, the daytime guys are always out putting fires out. You know, we had a major one today with sewage coming up from a drain at Worcester School. So they had to run right out there, get that fixed and taken care of. The nighttime guys that they hired are the ones that have really been going. And Craig, which you met at the last meeting,
Okay.
building needs,
So-
he's actually really, really good with making sure the guys follow through at night.
Yeah, he's really good.
He is.
Okay.
And he closes out a lot of stuff and makes sure his guys close out. That was the issue we had for the longest time, was a lot of times the guys are doing these jobs, and unless our guys are telling us that they're done, they don't close them out in the system.
Right.
But Craig is actually holding them to closing them out, so now, I know who did the job
Yep.
without him even having to tell me, and whether it's closed out or not. So, we went over these. I didn't know, but they didn't mention it about the stuff at your school that's done.
But that was like yesterday or the day before, right?
Yeah, it
We
was in
just-
the last
I mean, we
couple
just
of
went through them
days,
over,
yeah.
yeah.
Also, too, is I had the town welder out to look at the dust
the dust
collector.
collector.
Yeah,
And that's the one at Benel,
Yeah.
on the back
Yeah.
by
Yeah.
the field, yeah.
yeah, I was out there with them a week and a half ago.
Okay.
Yeah, they have done, like, I've been coming in the morning and there's, work orders are done at night.
Yeah.
You're coming in and things are already done, so they've really been on top of it.
So is this the typical process, or have they been stepping up their game, or?
I think they've been stepping it up, but also I think having, when they split and added those night
Yeah.
guys, if they're able to get to some of these work orders, they really, Mark Kozlowski especially, has just been the plumber.
He's retiring.
Yeah, and I don't, I don't
Mark-
think they
Mark
had a night supervisor before,
Yeah.
right? I think
Since
I think that
just-
position, huh? No, I meant over, like, Public Works,
Oh.
right? I don't think they had a night
Craig.
supervisor like Craig is now.
Yeah,
So
Craig's
they
been
never
on-
had anybody hold them accountable at night.
Right.
He is.
Craig's been on top of it.
Right.
Yeah.
So then this has been a big improvement.
It has.
Yes.
I would
Yeah,
agree.
without a doubt.
Yeah.
So we owe them.
And Craig's in here at least a couple times a week talking to us and going through things.
Okay, so we owe them some thanks for.
Yes, we do.
Yeah, okay, great. All right, so there's a lot of stuff, you guys have these documents, I just say maybe take them home and look through them, if we can stay on top of them.
I just have a question on one here. In the Lordship School, on page 2, halfway down the page, it's a fire alarm issue with the fire marshal inspection
Yeah.
from
It's a
2023.
smoke pad, so that's
Yeah.
already scheduled.
Okay, because
I
that's 2
can't-
years old. Is that a safety issue?
Well, it wasn't a safe, because there isn't one there. So,
Uh-huh.
and none of the schools have them. But when the fire marshals come through, which I go over with Ben McGordy, I make trips with Ben McGordy to all the schools, and we review all the reports. And if you see what they put down on there, they'll say, oh, I need a smoke kit here. But then no other school will have one above it, and they don't say anything. So that was a gripe that I had with them. If they're gonna do it for one school, I need it for all of them. Or, stuff like that. And then there's other stuff they'll tell me, all right, don't worry about that right now, it doesn't need to get done right now. But once they put it on the paper, it's in. So that is scheduled to be done.
Okay.
Somerset will go there too.
And
So-
then-
oh, sorry, go ahead.
No,
Nothing.
sorry, no, it's a different question, so.
So I was just saying, so the fire marshal's reports are included in the,
Any of the repairs that the town has to do.
Right.
Okay.
The
Anything
town
that
has
they
it.
find that belongs to us, we take care of.
okay,
Whatever we can. And that one there is not a town project, that's a Sonatrol project.
and so this work order is just work, this doesn't include the work that your guys do?
No, not really. No. Strictly all the town.
It's strictly on the town.
And how is that handled in determining who does what?
Typically between when they put a work order, say Brian puts a work order in. He's been here long enough, he knows what the town does, and if there's something he's gonna do, he'll take care of it. But there's other custodians that aren't handy, and we Susan and I will go through, and I'll see the work order come in and go, no, this doesn't belong here, this isn't a town work order. We don't want to send this through because Craig is gonna come back and send it to me anyways.
Yeah.
And then it's a vendor. Typically, if they're not doing it, I have to get the vendor in and take care of it.
So you guys, your department is the go-to and you
Yes.
make the determination?
So Freddie, who gets the work orders, and he'll put them in. But every time Brian puts one in, or any other head custodian, it comes to my computer, comes to Susan's
Right.
computer, so I'll see it.
Okay.
And they come in a lot.
And basically what we do is, pretty much anything that's carpentry, electrical,
Yeah.
automatically gets assigned to Dan Winkler.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Danny re-signs it out,
Mhm.
okay? Or maybe he'll say, no, this is for Craig, and he'll re-sign it to Craig, and then Craig will sign it out to his guys. So that's why you'll see different names. We don't assign those names.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
They kind of- So even on that one that Jill was questioning, notice they put Ruggiero, they sent it back to us.
Mhm.
So
Okay,
they're telling us, no, that's your project.
And that's typically gonna be a
Right.
vendor project.
gotcha. Okay.
I have another question. How does the status go, like, on hold? How long does it stay on hold for?
Whenever they get the parts.
Okay,
Yeah.
so,
So, anything, you're gonna, a lot of stuff you'll see on, unless they're like small little stuff, but a lot of stuff has been out and been on hold.
yep,
And painting's always gonna be
Yeah.
never done immediately. That's like at the bottom of the barrel where they have, it's more the emergency type things, getting real
Yeah.
and
things
then my
done.
next question. It's like, say a school needs something and it's not getting done, how frequently should they put a request in again to re-ask for it?
Well, I don't, again, some people wanna put them in constantly, which is not good,
Mhm.
right? Because then the town gets irritated that they're constantly going in. Usually, if it's not getting done, these guys will call me, or they'll say, email me, or they'll
Right.
email Susan. We've been waiting, this thing's been leaking. Sometimes leaks go undetected for a while, right? But usually when we have them, the nighttime plumbers get right in there and they take care of it. But stuff happens. I mean, we have
Yeah.
13 schools and 1,300,000 square feet of property.
Yep,
Stuff gets,
yeah,
gets missed, right? In the town, they keep losing their guys. They're down, I think, 4 different tradesmen now that either retired or left. And now they're re-interviewing again to get more guys in.
And you said Mark's leaving?
Yeah.
No, really?
Yeah, I just heard that
Yeah.
yesterday.
He's
I
so
wasn't
good.
happy. Oh my God.
So,
He was better than MacGyver what he did over at Flood.
yeah,
He was my plumber for about 20 years.
Yeah.
and-
Oh, was that right?
He knew everything,
Yeah.
it just, if,
He really is
if there was a
tremendous.
piper,
Yeah.
he knew what it was, and then, so when he came to the town, it was bad for us, but I figured it'd be good for the town, so sorry to see him
it
leave.
was such a good hire. Is he moving? He's not
Yeah, it's,
retiring.
North Carolina or South
Oh.
Carolina, they said. One of the two, yeah.
North.
But I seem to remember when I was in the council several years ago, this thing was 6, 7 pages long.
Yeah.
It used to be
And
much-
I was here, because I was Bob Springer's
Trust me.
secretary. I've been here since 2010 doing this, so
Yeah,
yes, I
it's
agree.
much better now than it used to be.
Oh, yeah.
And some of
Well,
those went back years.
Yeah. That was more like a manual, somebody else is doing it. Now we have a nice system, we can put the stuff in, it's more easily organized, it's,
We had other workers back then too. We had really good guys back then. Not saying our guys now are bad, but the 2 carpenters we had,
walked.
Walt and,
Walt.
I think Steve,
Yeah.
you couldn't beat those guys, I don't care. Although you can't beat Mikey and Pete,
Yeah.
right? But I had work orders down to 100 tickets at one point.
Wow.
And that was a lot from when I first got hired.
Mhm.
There was 400 and something open work orders.
Yeah.
But things have changed a lot, and I will say, since the mayor has been in, things have made a lot of changes for the
Yeah,
better.
big difference.
And also too, Mr. Henry has been a big help in getting a lot of stuff between us and the town too.
Yeah, Mike, you
so-
shouldn't be leaving, you ought to be fighting for the longer term, because you know what, for the Board of Ed, it's terrible when you have to keep going through another Board of Ed, and you have to keep retraining these people, and it's,
Yeah,
especially for people that've been here a while, you're like, so,
Well, but I think at the end, I mean, the big thing that I think has facilitated a lot of this change is obviously you have good people, but it's also communication.
yes,
And
absolutely.
in years past, that communication has either been not allowed
Yeah.
or not pushed.
agreed.
And now those communication channels are open, and I think that's kind of a monumental piece of these changes, is that when both sides talk, things get done. And when both sides don't, and when both sides are in agreement that things need to get done, and when everybody's holding everybody accountable, the mayor's side is holding her people accountable, our side is holding our people accountable, and we have a reporting system. That way we can stay on top of it. And that's kind of why I want to have this here and have this as a monthly report, is it so we can stay on top of the fact, like, right now, who cares? Stuff's getting done, right? But we can watch it and monitor it. But if things start to unravel a little bit, we can be proactive and say, hey, look, you know, I see this list is getting longer. How about if somebody reaches out to the mayor or to Danny or whoever it is, see what it is, see what we can do to help facilitate. Do we need to change our processes? But I think by kind of keeping this stuff in the dark, which, you know, I didn't even realize, I forgot this. There was one of these reports Teresa mentioned to me last month, but by having it here, having it in this committee, we kind of stay on top of it. And then by,
You're getting it before building needs, because I send this to building needs before the building needs meeting every, you know, so, and you guys weren't even seeing it.
yeah. So I think that's a huge piece, and that's why I kind of want to, if everybody can go home, maybe look through all this stuff, but so we can stay on top of it and see what's changing, and just, right now, just to ensure things are going smoothly, but if we hit a couple bumps, that we're on top of it, we're knowledgeable about it, so we can pick up on it and try to.
When we meet here, we can discuss it.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, is there anything else on facilities?
No, the only thing I would say is I know we were talking about Mark and the night guys closing out tickets. The day guys, it's a little tougher because they're doing a lot of the emergency work that happens during the day.
I agree with that, but they also could hand off their ticket back to the public works secretary and say, please close this out.
Well, I mean, as far as getting to do, like, you know, like if you have a flood.
Right,
so
no, a
plumbers
flood
are
or something
gonna-
like that, no,
Yeah,
exactly. You
so
can't-
they're concentrating on that
Right.
during the day. So it probably is easier for a guy at night to close out tickets because in general,
Right.
he's probably
Right.
not dealing with the
And
emergencies.
again, Craig is holding
Again,
them
Craig,
to
yeah.
close them out.
Right.
So
And there's also not a building full of kids.
Right.
Yeah,
And-
so-
And what I normally do, Brian knows, I also send the work orders out to the head custodians
Okay.
before the meetings
Right.
and just say, hey,
Mm.
look at your report, please let me know whatever has to be closed out. If it has to be closed out, we'll close it out on our end.
Mhm.
But I normally try to let the town do what they're supposed to do,
Yep.
because we don't need to take on any more work here.
Okay. Yep.
I feel like they've been better.
They have been much better, much better.
So, next item is the Vanel feasibility study. We had talked about that. I'll get some more information on that for the next meeting. I know the superintendent and the mayor talked about it a couple days ago. It was actually the mayor who originally brought it up about a year ago, and their desire to do a large project there, and we had started talking about it, and just for whatever reason. But it's moved to the forefront again, so we'll get you updates on that.
That's always good.
Yeah. So we have the balance sheet here. Now, this is something, Susan, that you generated, or?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. So what this is I did fiscal year 21 capital all the way through fiscal year 25.
Mhm.
What the Board of Ed requested, which is the first column, and what the town actually provided us. All right? So sometimes, like at the top one, we requested $40,000, they didn't give us anything. But we got our redesign anyway done, so it doesn't make a difference.
Some stuff that
Right.
we may have asked for,
Mhm.
and they didn't give us money, got paid in another way, like
Right.
extra funds.
So they're
Okay.
done, and, you know.
And they're done,
Right.
and we've kind of noted some of that.
So I'm just trying to do what we knew the town gave us versus what we asked for. And the next three, we didn't ask for those three things, but apparently the town thought they were important to be on here, so they added them in.
Okay.
All right, a lot of this I made notes already about what's been done in that. The balances might, in working with Renee over the years, and I kind of agree with it, if she could just give us a balances our capital equipment,
Mhm.
because that's really what we control, capital equipment. We do not control the improvements.
Right.
All right, Renee, so that the improvements is hers. So we don't really need a balance sheet of all the Board of Ed items. We basically need a balance sheet by year of what's left open in our account balances for equipment,
Well,
which is where we're getting student furniture from, where we're doing, you know.
but
things like that.
it would be helpful for us as we develop our next years and our upcoming years.
Yes.
Capital improvement plans.
Right.
That as we go through it, we say, no, this has already been done. It's already been, it was approved last year in last year's capital improvement plan. This was funded, it was
Right.
completed or it wasn't. So we can do one of two things, either carry it over to the next year.
Yeah,
But kind of earmark it, maybe put a, red mark or an asterisk, this has been carried over for
Yeah.
3 years, it needs to get done.
right.
Or we can take it off the list, because, some of the stuff we don't, whatever it is, but if we know both sides, I understand for you guys, the equipment piece of it, but for us as a committee, and as we develop and look through this next year's capital improvement plan,
Right.
what are our guidelines? What is our base? Where do we start from? What's been done?
Right.
And if we don't know, like some of the things were approved, some weren't, some wasn't funded, so maybe it needs to go back on next year. Maybe
Right.
it doesn't, so it just, right?
Yeah, but make sure it stays on there.
Yeah.
Right, that's what
Yeah.
we normally do, we try to keep it on there, or we decide, nope, that's, when we develop it, we take the prior years and we put it all back in together, and we leave that year in, and then I go through and highlight what we were approved for, and then we decide, okay, we gotta keep that on, so we'll put it into the,
Next budget.
so we move it.
But it was, and there's a lot here, so again, I'm gonna ask everybody to take this home, look through it. You have two things here. The approved capital improvement plan for the last 4 years, at least what Susan's given us, and then we have the new capital improvement plan, which is a draft for the upcoming year. In the years past, I think it's the town, or Bill, the town hasn't looked at the capital improvement plan until May or June,
Yeah,
right?
usually late.
I know Chris, when was the chair, they decided to
Yeah.
push it down the road a little bit, so we have a little time to look through this, but I'd like to make sure when we're submitting it, that we've studied somewhat what was done in the past and see how that impacts, so that's gonna be kinda like your guys' homework when we come back, so we can have a discussion on what you see and whatnot, so.
Well, I find it interesting, a couple where they actually approved a higher amount than was requested.
Like in which, are you talking, like probably some things that they automatically do, the general repairs, they put in that, the money controlled by the town, resurfacing of parking lots,
I know that,
doors and hardware,
I think the playgrounds, which parts of
playgrounds,
rec
which
is
they,
also,
yep, they,
most of those
right.
have been done.
Yeah, because the prices, playground.
The replacement of the boilers.
Yeah,
Replacement of
Replacement
boilers,
boilers,
yeah.
Yeah.
they're keeping their prices going no matter what we put it on, but they're increasing it from what they know
That's
the
good.
cost is gonna
Yeah,
be.
even like at the very bottom where it has the Board of Ed Safety Security for the schools, well, actually, that 250 was allotted for the
Vestibule.
vestibule.
That money was told to the state that this is the money that's being funded for the vestibules.
So we
So
couldn't
they
take any
can't,
of
nobody
that.
can touch that money, because the
Yeah.
state's already been told. That's how they funded the vestibules.
Now, I've gone around with.
And
Chad.
they'll get the percentage back, but they still have to put the money in front and bond it up.
I go around with Chad every year for the playgrounds, discuss with the teachers, or the principals rather, what we're gonna do. So we met this year. We went to 4 different schools. Hopefully, fingers crossed, that we can actually get them all done. There is some stuff on here that you may see, like Nichols Playground. Well, it was done. It's been 3 years now, I think, that Nichols Playground was done.
Yeah, Mike, I didn't have the comments because I wasn't at that far, but I can just, tomorrow, I can go put the comments in and resend these to you in PDF.
Okay.
So you guys will know what's done, what's this,
Yeah.
what's that,
Okay. So if you do that, maybe send a note, maybe PDF it, and just send a note to the group and say, if anybody wants a hard copy, they can
Right.
see Teresa
Okay,
and she
yeah,
can
that's fine.
print them up a copy, if that's all right, Teresa? Yeah. Okay. Okay, so we'll, unless you guys have any other, if anybody has any questions on this, or, so this is gonna be our homework for next month's meeting. We will hold the next month's meeting.
Yep.
Our meetings will be regular, moving forward. We'll go back to unless something strange comes up, we'll go back to the first Thursday of the month. But this is gonna be a big part of our discussion next month, is this, where we go. I'd like to get it out of this committee and pushed up to the board. But I would like, and it hasn't been necessarily done, I would like this group, and with this background, it gives us some knowledge.
Sure.
To have an intelligent discussion on it. So we can dig into it, we can look into it, we can make, in the meantime, I'll also meet with Renee and just kind of see where they're at, and I'll bring that back, and then we can have an intelligent discussion next month, and then hopefully push it forward.
Yeah, I actually was talking with Renee about, where we're gonna do our elevators this year. And I know this building is kind of an albatross for everyone, because nobody really, they wanna move us, but they don't have any place to move us. And this elevator, because they
Sorry,
even said,
yeah.
Renee says to me, what do you think? I says, well, talking it over with TKE, I says, Franklin would be our move. But if I had my choice, we're operating on a system from 1974. We have nothing but relays here. We have a panel with 160-something relays. And now to get those relays when it breaks, they have to manufacture them because there's no company making them anymore. So we just got a quote today to
Yeah.
get this
To
elevator
get
fixed
this
again for like almost
$9,500, almost 11, yeah, almost $10,000.
$10,000.
So that's gonna go to Renee tomorrow, because our elevator's done.
Yeah.
So then they're gonna have to make a decision, do they wanna pay the 10,000, or they wanna get a quote to replace it?
To replace it.
Okay. But so, yeah, so we got, so on the list next, we had the open work orders, which we talked about, unclosed projects, which we'll come back to, but one of the things was the elevator. And when we met last year with Rich, that was something that was discussed with the town, is just moving that forward and trying to get an assessment, an accurate assessment of
That's
it.
an assessment. So TKE did go around and kind of give us the heads up on a lot of our elevators.
Okay.
Eli Whitney is another one that is on the list that really needs to get replaced.
Okay.
So,
You're saying 175,000 per elevator? That's what it says here?
yeah, roughly, that's around what it was. When we did, the last one we did was Wilcox, and it had a double piston, and both pistons were bent. And for the amount of money we were spending to have the packing completely done again, they changed it, and that was the quote. That was the price that we paid. Now, that was with another company. We went with low bid, obviously, when Brian went out to bid, which was cheaper. Chances are, at this time now, it might end up being a little bit more, I don't know.
But having that assessment
Correct.
gives us some sense, so we're not just having a random number
Correct.
in our capital improvement plan that has no backing. Now we have some concrete evidence what needs to get done.
Yeah, everything in the capital plan is based off of factual numbers. So,
Yeah.
like, I want to put floor over at either flood, or I want
Yeah.
another school. I'm going to take that square footage and base it off of Johnson's, which was just done last year, and I know we're going to be about $1.2 million, $1.4 million. So I'm going to put that number in there, or I'm going to have the contractor come out and actually say, here's what it's going to cost.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
He may not be the person we're going to use, but he's giving me the numbers.
Sure. But I'm just saying with the elevators, I know every year we'd have just a plug number in there.
We did.
And what the discussion was last year, where does that number come from? And then that's when we decided to get an assessment and evaluation.
It says 11 elevators, 175,000 each.
Well, and maybe you guys have the knowledge you have says we don't need 175 per.
You know what, I think you're gonna be pretty close to that number, because we're typically not changing the cars. So they're changing the actual cuts, the rails going up and down, and all the mechanical part of it is what they're changing out. Again, every school's got a different elevator. Yeah, and they're used like nonstop, so we do have a maintenance contract. But you never know. One day, everything's working fine, and then you come back after a long weekend, and you got 8 schools that are giving me nothing but grief. But that's one of them.
Are they really being used that much? Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
oh, for
for
sure.
sure.
You know what it is, the kids who've got broken
As
leg, or
soon as they're on
wheelchairs,
crutches,
Yeah.
or even teachers with the issues, right?
Yeah. Huh. I was just, when I always see the elevator, and I think the elevator in town hall is now, you guys, they're working on
It's
it.
still down, right?
Just about
Nope,
done.
I can't go there.
But when I see it, I'm always like, who uses an elevator? But I guess, okay. So they are, yeah, okay.
Like,
They're a valuable asset.
students, it's like Stratford High, there's so many students that have fobs in order to get on the elevator, and I'm like, there's that many kids with, yeah, apparently there are.
Mhm.
You know, with some kind of a handicap. You don't think about it, but.
What's going on with Eli Whitney's elevator?
What's that?
What's going on with Eli Whitney's elevator?
Again, it's age. We just had them there, I had the bottom of the pit was full of oil, so the packing had to get all redone. When I met Danny, was actually, had them come in, TKE, and then I met them there. And I said, you know, what do you think about this? He goes, you really need to consider putting this on a list to get replaced.
On the capital improvement for 26 to 30, it says elevator each year. 385, is that thousand, is that just a rough estimate? Because someone else just said 100.
175. It is, because some of the elevators that we have, again, some have one, they're only going up one floor. Not from the lower level, like here, it's 3 floors, right? So they're all different, and that changes the price of everything.
And Joe, also the 175 per elevator, it's gonna take a long time to get all the elevators done.
Yeah.
So therefore, the price got increased, so we can get more elevators done quicker.
Hopefully.
And now, would maintenance to those elevators be part of the capital improvement, or is that done?
That's on the operating
Operating,
budget.
Okay.
Unless it's large, Mike.
Yeah,
Like that one for ours, the one going here for $9,700, $10,000, that's going to an end,
Yeah.
okay. Well,
you know?
yeah. All right.
So that also eats away at that elevator money,
Sure.
those big chunks.
Any questions on elevators? Any other? All right.
The good news is that you look at Bridgeport, it's looking at replacing, 4 or 5 schools.
Well, they're over 100 years old.
Yeah,
I used to be head of maintenance over there for about 13 years. They're 100 years old.
yeah.
Can't even drill, so 2 center walls are so big.
I'd rather deal with this than with that.
I'm just glad we got all the roofs
That's
replaced in
Frank.
Stratford.
That's one of our better schools. It's
Yeah.
100 years old.
It's unbelievable.
But for me, it's crazy to think that a building that's 60 years old, it's reached the end of its lifespan. You know, you would think a building would,
Yeah.
you know, I don't know.
No, it's you in ancient Rome don't still stay.
Well, we're in an old building right now. Oldest building.
They're not built that way.
Yeah, so,
This is all wood construction.
this is the oldest, right? Center school?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I think Franklin.
Franklin's
I think it's in
next,
pretty good
yeah.
shape.
Yeah. Oh. Yeah, it just doesn't seem, I don't know, in my head, it doesn't seem like a long time.
It doesn't seem like.
Apparently it is.
You take like Benalla, go to take a window out, the caulking's full of asbestos or, one of those things. I couldn't believe when we did Stratford High, the amount of stuff that actually contained asbestos. I never thought about it. The caulking along the window. Never gave it a thought.
But-
All that's gotta get abated.
But back in the day, that was the standard.
That was the standard. Asbestos cloth was like a wonder. You could-
Especially here in Stratford. It's
Fires.
everywhere.
Well, the field.
That's good one, Joe.
It was actually pure silicone, but all the asbestos in the air came.
Yeah, it's got to it.
So Benell's 65 years old, right?
Yeah, it was 1960.
Well, it opened at 60, so it's really more like 62 probably by the
Yeah.
time they started building.
Yeah.
To your point though, with the asbestos thing, like even some of the cork boards at Benell, when you take one down.
It's the glue on the backside.
The glue,
Yeah.
they would glue stuff on the back and it was all asbestos.
Yeah.
So if you take down a board, you can't even do it because you
But that's all non-friable too. I think that's not airborne, so.
still can't touch it.
You can't touch it, but it doesn't create the same hazard that the
Sure.
friable, just the,
But then you can't replace it, they can't replace the corkboards.
yeah.
Sadly.
But yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Are there any highlights in here you want to go over now before we move on our way? You want to just point some stuff out?
Into the work orders?
No, in the capital improvement,
The new one?
the 26 to 30?
This one, 26
Oh,
to
the big
30.
one. I have all separate ones.
No, the big one. Teresa's
Oh, the
packet.
big one?
Yeah, Teresa's packet as well.
Yeah, this would be the pending plan.
So the inspections, the air quality inspections, we did our elementary schools. So what's left for us to have to do, if you look down at the improvement, Board of Education district-wide air quality. So we did the air quality and everything testing for our elementaries except for Johnson because of the size of the school.
Okay.
So what's left is the 2 high schools, Johnson, and the 2 middle schools. Now, at the point when we did the elementaries, we were supposed to have all of them done by 2025. They stayed because they realized they threw this out to everybody, and how are they gonna get all their buildings? Like, you take Bridgeport, how many schools are there?
43 buildings.
Right, how are they gonna get those done? So they extended it out to 30.
Okay.
So that would be next on our list, to have the company come back in and really evaluate everything, which worked out really well, because the town really got to see exactly how the equipment was.
Okay.
Now, I do know also with that, after finding all these things, Danny and Craig have contacted Train and had somebody come out to evaluate all our stuff, and they're getting pricing
Okay.
to see. Obviously, they're not gonna do it all at once, but as many as they can. That also brought out thermostats that were so outdated, and we couldn't control anything because the computer software was outdated. Now they're updating it all. They've already got the money, they've already paid the money to have the software installed, so now the guys can go on their iPads and make changes on the new software. So a lot's been happening.
And that's probably gonna, even though there's a initial expense, it's on the backside, it's gonna create some savings
Exactly.
by energy
Sure.
efficiency, yeah.
Right, so we got the grant for the
The
flood chiller.
The
That's
JC grant, the
almost
JC
done,
grant.
right? And the units are all installed. I think the only thing they're working on is some of the electrical left inside. And that's moving right along. We've been getting money for cameras. We've been doing a lot of camera work in the town right now.
Yep.
Renee's got some money in there for safety and security.
That's where we
We've
just
been
take our camera
updating,
replacements
yeah,
out
we've
and,
been updating a lot of cameras.
It says like flood middle school, oh, that's replacement of 40 security cameras with 20.
Can you tell me about the hand sanitizer? That's a lot of money.
it's also a problem in the town, Jill, it's not just at the Board of Ed. It's from COVID.
Yeah.
Is
So
it a special kind of hand?
No,
No.
right now, they're bringing, the town and we are storing these in an Eagle leasing trailer.
No, the town uses the storage facility.
We can't use them in our schools and our.
No, they
Nobody
have
wants
expiration dates,
But nobody wants it.
and it's considered hazardous waste.
We met with the town when COVID started, right? We all met at Baldwin Center, big round table.
When you get back to the
And
state, they
it
give
was,
it to
it
us.
was Larry Ciccarelli that said, oh, I have somebody here in town that makes this hand sanitizer. And even Bob Daniels from the fire department, he was saying, yeah, the stuff's really good, it's got lanolin or something in there. And again, well, state, I think, gave us, what, $500,000, right? And you had to use it. So we bought $500,000. We took how many people are in the, in here, and figured, here's what we needed. Now I got hand sanitizer that nobody wanted to use from day one. So they reformulated, redid the formula, so it was a little more looser. People didn't want to use it because it didn't say
Purell.
Purell. And,
And you couldn't put it in the schools because it's not alcohol free.
but then the state changed that the kids were able to use the alcohol-based stuff. So we're stuck now with this.
So if we consider maybe like giving it
We
away?
can't because of it's state money.
Okay.
So we can't just give it away, we can't donate it to this fund.
Maybe you can inquire at town hall, because we just got rid of about 30 cases of
To where
that. I don't
We'll have to ask
That's
Phil.
why you gotta inquire.
somebody,
Well, that's Phil.
It's expired already?
Yeah.
Yeah, here's this free stuff, it's gonna cost you $100,000 to get rid of it.
plus
I
Target.
say ship it back to the state. Here you go, Lamont.
It's Target and
Put it on the
another
front.
company that donated a truckload of it for us.
Because we're not the only district in this situation. This has happened around the state of Connecticut.
Yeah, the first company I contacted to get rid of it, he came out and looked at it, and they ship it to a concrete plant in Montana, and they burn it, pallets, plastic, everything. They just dump the whole thing into. We wanted $150,000 to get rid of it.
Oh,
It's like you're double dipping. And this one here I got, it's like an offshoot from Clean Harbors. They'll take all the stuff off our hand, but again, there's.
100,000.
Well,
I even asked the town if they would consider doing a controlled burn.
Yeah.
Let the guys get practice. but
What'd they say?
they'll laugh. No, he just looked at me. Bob laughed.
Bob Daniels will be for that.
You kidding me? We melt everything in the area with that stuff.
Okay. All right, so we'll kind of, I guess, look through this, see what's there, if anybody's
I
got
have some
questions.
questions still.
Oh, go ahead, I'm sorry, yeah, if
That's
anybody's got a
okay.
question, go for it.
I know, I asked a lot of questions. I was just basically look through this now, but some schools aren't even on here at all. How is this compiled? And this is a 5-year lookout, so in 5 years, we don't foresee every school needing some kind of,
What we do annually is I send out
Yeah.
a template to every
Teachers.
school, to every principal. There's capital time, let us know what you guys need, and then they provide us a list.
Some schools will put
Some
stuff,
things Rich will put on because he knows, but some schools,
some of the schools will
Victoria
just
Soto
say,
doesn't really need anything.
I don't need anything.
Stratford
I
High
don't
doesn't really need anything. So you gotta think about it that way too, unless it's equipment.
Yeah, and some principals will put stuff on there that are not capital items.
okay.
All right, so I'm like, no, it's not a capital item. Painting is a capital to buy the town, it's gonna happen. Like Worcester's already scheduled to get their school painted, soon as school's out. So they may put a lot of stuff on there that's not.
Do you follow that up with a school visit yourself and oversee and see how the building shape is? And so you're confident that those buildings don't need any capital yourself besides just what the
Yeah,
principal?
well,
Because
I
the
meet
principal
with the
has a lot.
principals,
I know, but
right?
they have a lot on their plate. They're dealing with the school, whatever's going on a daily basis. They're not really thinking about,
They
so I
don't.
just want to make
So
sure that
if-
we're not,
Yeah, you know, like, if I went to Worcester, Worcester, you know, wanted to put painting on capital, so I have to explain, no, we're not gonna, we can't put it on there because it's already scheduled.
Right, because we put it on
They want
district-wide, we don't
furniture.
put it on.
Furniture is already allotted in our operating budget. So you want the floors done, I can put the floors in, but I can tell you, the town already knows what schools they're gonna be doing, right? So we'll always put that in, flooring for, like, we know Benel flooring got done,
Right.
but you take flood. If I had my choice, I would love to have floods floor because it's all coming apart. But, and that is based on the town. So principals could say, here's what I want, and then we have to go through. And then when I meet with Pam, Heather, and we go through, we're like, well, why is that in here? You know, we do the best we can with whatever we want, you know, what we could put in there within reason.
okay.
And the stuff I'm gonna say is not gonna go in. And that type of stuff is what I'm, you know, what I was talking about.
Then there's many
But
cases
it-
you have district-wide, so that
That's,
applies to almost
Yeah,
every.
Certain
because-
stuff is gonna be district-wide.
I found on the balances, it's better to put certain things district-wide than by school.
Yeah.
Because when it goes to the town councils, now that money's just to that school only.
And you can't do anything else with it.
So now we've got a little smarter saying painting is district-wide, this is district-wide, curbs are district-wide.
Yeah.
You know, so that they can go do some money for whatever schools they have to use them in.
All right, and then we talked briefly, it's heading back a little bit, but unclosed projects, you guys, the town, we've on the board put that as a standing item. Anytime anything comes forward, there's a number of projects that have been bonded, and they haven't been closed out for whatever reason, so we're trying to, and building needs is taking that up as well, just to help, and, you know, Susan's been pushing for the documentation. So we want, that's another thing on the board and maybe in here.
There's still a lot of money out there.
Yeah, and the town's paying, you know, paying the vig on the note, so the quicker we can close it out, but but again, that's just a communication thing, and I think now everybody knows where we're at with that.
I think, Mike, between COVID, Jay Wahlberg passing, Dawn coming in new, not knowing systems, I think that's where big of the disconnect came. And she was learning her job and didn't understand the school construction side. And, you know, I got the roof done because of Jay Wahlberg. You know, he was a great guy. We were able to get every roof done here. So I think now that lanes of communication are open and Renee's back in,
Yeah.
Renee's great. I love working with her.
Yeah.
All right, she's got a good head on her shoulders, and I think, you know, she's gonna jump in no matter, just like some other people would just jump in because it's important to get it done.
Yeah, absolutely. So this is the chart, this is you had given to us
Mhm.
a while back, I don't think it's in here, but
No.
this is the chart of just open projects. I have the building needs agenda, and there's 18 open projects. right now. That, what, some can't, because I know some of the roof projects had change orders. I think one of them was Second O Lane. They put a vent up, so that delayed the processes of completing that project. So some are out there for reasons, some of them are just we need to, get the paperwork done. I know Susan and Pam Mangini had offered to help Dawn as well, try and facilitate some of that stuff. So that was where that was, and hopefully we'll see some of those. Those won't necessarily come to this committee, but I just want to make you guys aware that
Well, they will accept them as complete, so I can close them.
So they'll come to the, is the process?
Not your committee, no, they'll go to the board.
The board,
right.
so they don't need to come to this committee,
No.
okay. But I just want to make you guys aware that that's another thing that we're on top of. And again, that's just a matter of communication, and making sure that everybody understands the process, and that we're keeping an eye out for it. So as these things come up, we make sure that the process is there, that these are the paperworks we need when we get them, and just constantly reminding each other so that we can, so it doesn't kind of fall in the cracks.
And the state has tightened their controls
Yeah.
under the situation what they went through at Costa.
Okay.
So, very tight. They are, dot your I, cross your T.
Yeah, but it's just making sure that when things are needed, that both sides are communicating and go back and forth.
That's the
Susan
biggest.
has a great relationship, a person who's running a lot up there in our area,
Yeah,
so.
yeah, up it, yeah.
Is there any other old new business? Any questions, comments, thoughts? So hopefully, if it's not only just for the purposes of us just staying on top of this stuff, I mean, new things will arise that these committee will need to do, but I want to at least make sure we had some purpose moving forward. And I think just, helping and staying on top of this is going to be helpful to everybody, so. All right, if that's it, you guys got your homework, motion to adjourn.
That would be 6:30, the next, it's always 6:30?
6:30, yeah. Yeah. Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Second by Mr. Palmer. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimously. Thank you.